Hi everyone. As you know, we've finished this unit and this module, and now we're looking back at the effectiveness of our unit plan. Looking back at the start of this unit, I would have to say that I thought my unit planning went pretty well initially, and I thought my grade showed that. However, learning more in the unit, I realized that with my unit plan, I didn't actually think about multiculturalism or innovation and promoting it in the classroom. I feel as a teacher when I teach, I try to integrate multiculturalism into my lesson because it's a very important thing as a teacher here in Korea because it's not really a multicultural society. So, like for some of the students, I'm probably the only person from a different culture or ethnic background that they ever meet in their young lives. So I feel it's my responsibility as a teacher to give the students an understanding of how some cultures are different and how it doesn't matter if somebody is different, that we're all the same and we're all people. So it's a big issue here in Korea because the country's demographics are not very good, and like 96% of Korean people here in Korea are Koreans, and they're very homogenous society, so they don't get exposed that much to multiculturalism. And it's not integrated into their regular curriculum, only in their social studies lessons, where they learn about different cultures, and in English lessons, where they deal with foreign teachers who try to integrate it into the lesson plan. Also, the teaching materials we use like historical and social studies based as well, some of them, so we can integrate that as part of our lesson. Now, with using the technology, I use technology a lot in the classroom in that I have a television connected to my computer and I have software that I can use to make my lessons more interesting for the younger students. So I have vocabulary software which flicks up things, and I have quizzes I can use. So I try to use them in the classroom when I can. Also, the students have access to this software as well as part of their homework. We can't use it in the classroom, which is very disappointing, but the school has a policy of non-technology use. So I think with the use of innovation in the lesson plan and the unit plan, it all depends on resources. It depends, do you have the computer resources to do this? If you don't have the resources, make use of what you can. Also, you've got to think about the school rules. The reason I'm not allowed my students aren't allowed to use technology in the classroom is that the school's policy is no mobile devices in the classroom because the parents are worried about game addiction and whatnot. So we can't use them in the classroom. So I sometimes get away with it for some classes, but the majority of my classes, the school really says, no, you can't use them. So I have to deal with that and I have to make do. And our company makes do by assigning the computer based learning or the digital based learning that I put in my blog for the second activity. We do that for homework and we can track what the students are doing, which is really great. So I think it's really innovative. So we can see, oh, this is what our students are doing, this is what they're having problems with, and whatnot. So it's really good. Now, as we know, when I planned this unit, I really did hope to use it, and I did use it. So the 5 lessons in my unit, initially, that's what I'll be doing. The innovative unit, I would love to do it, and I have taught it before, and it worked really, really well. So I think that I would really enjoy being able to have lab time with my students because I think the whole point of the innovation in game-based learning and project-based learning is that it's a cross-curriculum skill as well. So students just don't learn English because as an ESL teacher, I'm teaching English, but also with the multiculturalism and innovation, I'm teaching like social studies. I'm also teaching the students how to use technology. So it's a cross-curriculum based thing. I think that's the future of education. You're not teaching a subject, you're teaching many subjects as a side part of your main subject. So as an English teacher, I'll be mainly teaching English, but I'll be bringing in parts of history, social science, science and technology, or multimedia studies, depending on what you call it in your curriculum. So the main insight that I've gained while doing this is that while teaching, I'm not teaching a subject, I'm teaching many things. And the more innovative I can be as a teacher, the more technology that I use in the classroom, the more the students are involved, I feel, because it centers on the students. So, as I've noticed, like if I just use just plain flashcards instead of using electronic flashcards, the students are not as interested because the students are stimulated 24/7. Like all the students have smartphones, so they're all like looking at their things. So they're used to information at their fingertips. So the more stimulative, more innovative we are as teachers, the more involved the students are going to be in our lesson. So that's the main insight I got from this. So like I remember watching the video last Sunday night where like the teacher had a computer lab and the other teacher had a, I think it was a, I can't remember the actual proper word for it, but just like a little piece of paper, and he's just showing charts. So if you actually make the students have that technology, it involves them more in the lesson, so it's more student centered, and that's the way we should be teaching. We shouldn't be teaching about us talking. It should be the students listening to us, then giving us feedback. We're acting on the feedback, then we give the students projects so they can actually do what we're teaching them, just not write down stuff, so they can actually build stuff and create. So that will give them real world skills, because when they get to the workplace, their boss is going to tell them to do something. They're not going to tell them how. They have to figure it out. So they'll need to know, oh, I need to read this. They'll have to know how to do things for themselves. So with project-based learning and game-based learning, we can actually get the students to do things themselves. So we give them a little outline and they fill in the blanks. So we just give them the basic knowledge. They build on that knowledge with previously learned skills. So it's actually bringing everything they learnt in the unit together. So that's why I think, and my major takeaway from this whole unit is that with innovation, multiculturalism, and planning, you can bring everything together in a unit. And that unit goes to another unit, and that unit goes to another unit, and by the time they've finished that year, the whole plan joins together. So that's one thing I noticed. And another thing I really enjoyed was actually unpacking the standards. I know it sounds pretty stupid, but unpacking the standards really helps me as a teacher to know my goals and what objectives I need to set the students. So I actually look, this is my end result I want. So I actually like the backward design, and that's the way I created my unit plan, because that's the way I've always done it. I found it as a very easy way of doing it. So when I have to write my unit plan for next semester, which I'm currently doing for my school, I'm actually using backwards design, and it really helps. And I'm also using the SMART objectives because I found that really, really easy and simple to use. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a good day. And I would like to thank Katrina for all her hard work. Thank you very much.